In 2025, an 11-track album called Systems of Light hit major streaming platforms. It functions as a therapeutic operating system in audio form, a tool designed to facilitate deep personal mental realignment through sound. The architect behind this system is Mark Tulloch. Today, he's a 53-year-old AI consultant living in Bali, running a digital platform and coaching framework known as Conscious Systems. The production methodology here presents an interesting paradox. While the tracks were built and polished using advanced 2025 AI audio tools, the foundational lyrics were written over 2 decades ago. Those words weren't drafted in a sterile clinical setting. They were written by a man actively trapped in the destructive, highly volatile chaos of unmanaged bipolar type 1 disorder. To understand exactly how this modern audio system works to heal the mind, we have to go back and excavate the violent environment that generated its raw data in the first place. During the 1990s, Mark was working in the UK hospitality industry. He quickly rose to become a top 1% pub manager, running flagship, million-pound profit venues across London's Covent Garden. That environment was a literal pressure cooker. Running these massive pubs meant managing the constant daily threat of street violence and aggressive crowds of football hooligans. Mark's unmanaged bipolar disorder found a perfect home in this extreme setting. To survive, he developed a hyper-vigilant aggressive mechanism he called the street code, acting as manager, bouncer, and enforcer all at once. The lyrics he tuned to song during this era were literal cries for help. Underneath the enforcer persona, his mind was fracturing, completely overwhelmed by internal rage and burnout. Years later, after relocating to Bali, that cumulative trauma caught up with him. He suffered a severe physical and emotional collapse, landing him in a hospital bed, kept alive by medical machines. That near-death experience acted as a mandatory system override. It physically broke his addiction to extreme pressure and endless momentum, forcing him into absolute stillness. This collapse necessitated a total rebuild of Mark's internal rules. During his recovery, he realized the aggressive street code was the very thing that had broken him, leading him to develop a soul code that viewed his bipolar disorder not as a burden, but as a doorway to higher awareness. He began building the Bipolar Aware Framework. This technique requires a practitioner to meticulously track their own behavioral triggers, identifying the specific data points that precede an emotional shift. Instead of swinging wildly along emotional peaks and troughs, the goal is to locate and expand that central neutral zone. By deliberately practicing stillness in this middle ground, the volatility stabilizes. The extremes are absorbed, resulting in clear, intentional boundaries. Mark then took this systemic logic and used AI to apply it to his past. He treated his 20-year-old trauma lyrics as raw data, re-engineering their frequencies to align with the stillness he discovered in that middle zone. This process treats a history of severe trauma as a chaotic data pattern, one that can be systematically mapped and then recoded through intentional alignment. The professional outcome of this methodology is highly concrete. The Systems of Light album is now fully commercially licensed, cleared for direct integration into other clinical therapeutic programs around the world. The personal outcomes carry even more weight. Mark's mental realignment allowed him to reunite with his wife Elle, and together they successfully adopted their daughter Nabila. It also initiated deep generational healing. After years of painful estrangement, Mark reconnected with his non-biological son Corey, repairing the family fractures caused by his unmanaged past. The ultimate goal of Mark's framework is to stop running on autopilot. It is a deliberate transition away from basic survival and reaction, moving directly toward intentional strategy. By applying conscious pattern recognition to his past, Mark essentially hijacked his own narrative, turning his historical chaos into a deliberate, repeatable strategy for alignment.